Hello friends, it's the Stitches, and today I'm going to show you how I made this matching ruffle top and circle skirt set from start to finish. This fabric may look familiar. I've previously used it in other projects. It's thrifted from Goodwill and I managed to get over 10 yards of it, so it's still going strong. I made my pattern completely from scratch, starting with a full circle skirt pattern. I wanted a full circle skirt as opposed to a half circle, which is more common, but a full circle skirt will create a full 360-degree hem, and to do this, each pattern piece needs to be 1/4 of my natural waist. After making the biggest pattern piece, I prepped my top pattern, my shoulder straps, and the front and back panel patterns for my waistband. All of my pattern pieces are marked NSA. If you ever see this on a pattern, it means that it has no seam allowance added in, so you have to add it when you're cutting out your pieces. I wanted a really stable waistband, so I added some lightweight fusible interfacing. I recommend buying a big bolt of this on Black Friday. I bought this bolt for about $5, I think, when I was in high school. I got a couple of them, and I'm still using them. And here are all of my finished pieces. I decided to make the skirt first and started by sewing the skirt panels together, and I cut one pattern piece on the fold for the front panel, and then for the back 2 pieces I just cut the pattern as is. That way I would wind up with a center back seam to put my zipper in. I also sewed my waistband pieces together here as well. Next, I pressed my seams open. It's really important to always press your seams, especially with this really thin fabric that likes to pull in lots of different directions. You can see I left a part of the back seam open for the zipper as well. And then I attached my 2 pieces together. At this point, it's time to install the zipper. I'm just using a small one that I happen to have on hand. I used to get these in big bags at Value Village, I think. The best way to install a zipper is with a zipper foot. It presses the thick layers to the side and keeps the zipper in place while you stitch. Once the zipper is in, it's time to finish the waistband. I ironed it down in place thoroughly, pinning it as I went, so my final product will end up looking perfect. And I used the stitch in the ditch technique to stitch it down. I think this just looks really clean, even if it isn't top stitching the front. The hem is by far the trickiest part of the whole process, but whatever you have to do to get the job done is valid. I also added a ribbon closure over some round vintage buttons, but for some reason I didn't film it. For the top, I have 2 pieces, a front and a back, as well as 2 pieces for my front and back lining, so a total of 4 pattern pieces altogether. I started by pinning my top and my top lining separately. And I have also ironed my 4 shoulder strap pieces down the middle. Here I'm just stitching everything down. The shoulder straps get turned right side out. You just do this with a safety pin. To assemble my top, I put the lining inside the outer fabric and stitched it down on one side. From here, I'm going to iron it very well to make my bottom hem. I'm also ironing the other seam in place here. So you'll start with one fold and then bring the other fold down to meet it, if that makes sense. Before I stitched the hem shut, I also inserted my shoulder straps to secure them. Now all I have to do is stitch down channels for my elastic. Since I already have 2 layers of fabric, I just make a line of stitching and then open up the side seam just enough to get my elastic in, and then close it all back up. And we're all done! I really love this set. I think it will be so sweet in the summer. It's just very light and airy and bouncy. And I'm wearing it here with a petticoat, but you can always wear it by itself without one. The shoulder straps can also be tied in various different ways to fit your aesthetic for the day. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all consider making something new for yourself, and I will see you all next time. Bye!